Hey internet people, and welcome to Frostpunk, where minus 20 degrees is the new standard temperature for a warm summer holiday. Civilization has been destroyed and we are tasked with building the last city on Earth. Luckily for my survivors, I played this game once or twice before, so the first thing I did is to completely ignore the first message this game throws at me, and entirely disregard the mining of coal to power the generator. It's only minus 20 degrees, get your stuff together, you don't need heating yet. Because today's plan is to efficiently use every worker I can get to snowball so far ahead that my future residents don't have to freeze to death. And with every worker, I really mean every worker. I will only need to employ children temporarily. Trust me, it is as temporary as this sudden and unexpected drop of hope as a scientist's law. At least we have 80 usable workers now. Anyways, I instantly ordered the construction of a workshop, which is needed to do research. Early research snowballs nicely into more production later on. I'm also aiming to get early scouts, to start progressing in as many trees as fast as possible. I quickly put 60 of my workers on wood and 15 on steel, keeping 5 as a reserve to build and fill the workshop. Of course, I only employed the most skilled children in this definitely safe for work environment. Shut up, Bernice, we don't even have school anymore. So let your daughter contribute to the survival of humankind. As I mentioned earlier, no coal mining yet, which means no fuel for the generator, you know, the main gimmick of this game. But you will soon notice that you don't need additional heating in the early game, especially if you use my strategy. The first work day is over, at least the mining part, because now we enter the second main phase of my grand survival plan, which is also the reason why I didn't mine any coal. I need every little bit of these resources for the first night of construction. I constructed 8 tents and a medical post. These tents offer my people the needed isolation to survive in this cold environment. Without additional heat, no coal is needed, just ignore the tent layout for now, it will make sense later on. I also managed to get enough resources to rush an additional workshop and a scouting beacon. The beacon lets us deploy scouts, who search the icy wasteland for more survivors in strategic locations, which translates to more workforce and resources. The heating is off. Game shut up. Who needs heating if you can have homes in the first night? And at 2 AM in the morning, I was able to pass my second bill, emergency shifts, which lets me force my employees to work overtime. I swiftly use this ability on my workshop and some resource piles. More importantly, research is now also completed at night, which allows me to tech rush even further. I just hope nobody dies of overwork, because there's actually a slim chance of it happening every time I use this ability. Work, work, work until you die. That's the right spirit, Molly. Damn it. I actually didn't want anybody to die in this playthrough. I was just aggressively testing my residence limits. This fella is the last death which will ever happen under my rule. I mean it. Anyways, I didn't stop the emergency shifts. 1 is the maximum of deaths in this event, and the discontent is only temporary. The second day started, and it quickly confronted me with another difficult decision. Should I scold this kid for being careless or give it a day off? Well, I'm not that cruel, at least when I'm certain that one working child doesn't make the difference in my second night's construction plan. We even got some free hope for that. In the meantime, the scouts from earlier seem to have discovered some more survivors, which I decided to escort back in order not to lose anyone in the cold. We needed everyone we can get. In the second night, I constructed 2 sawmills, which I researched overnight earlier. Now the children can work in a heated factory and stop digging in the icy piles for wood. Additionally, I built the basic food production 2 hunters' huts, which will be filled soon with the newfound survivors in the cookhouse. Speaking of workforce, here they are. This is also the perfect time to extend the work shifts of each worker. The third day is much of the same thing I did earlier, specific mining for the specific building, which I will build in the night. But by now the build is coming together nicely. I also choose fighting arenas this time. It will provide entertainment, which translates to hope and less discontent. It is also getting colder the longer the game progresses. Now it reached minus 40 degrees. It's finally time to activate the generator full time. Another event bubble popped up. Double ration for kids. Let's see what are the consequences of my decisions here. Well, that's an easy decision to make. By now the local steel piles have also run out. Therefore I constructed 2 steel mills and extended the housing in the heated circle. I also established a snow pit to handle the local disposal of corpses. You're sure that doesn't mean the people are more content or hopeful? Well, they look quite content to me. Some more lost, some more scouting, and the automaton finally arrived. Welcome home, the Queen's Dubliner, which I put to work in the second steel plant over there. The first week isn't even over yet, but the economy is already thriving thanks to my efficient planning and the use of child labor. I also readjusted the local heating in each building according to the temperature changes. Every warm home means less people get sick, which means more resources. Oh my god, woman, I know your husband was the only worker who died in this colony, but don't dig him back up again. It wasn't even the cold, it was just a little bit of overwork, so it's totally his fault, ma'am. The scouts found another batch of survivors. Therefore, I preemptively extended the radial grid to add an additional housing circle if needed. Sadly, my rapid explorations came with an additional challenge. I discovered the fall of Winterhome quite early in the game. The sudden realization that we are in fact the lone survivors spiraled my residents into depression and doubts about my leadership. Why do they doubt my leadership if we are the only survivors? Shouldn't it be the opposite? Anyway, there exist two paths to restore the lost order and hope of my residents: become a cult-like church or radiate order and discipline. I choose the latter since it comes with the additional resource boosting mechanic, and it's easier to maintain with my residential layout. Another negative side effect is the newly founded rebel group, the Londoners, who I have to keep in check since they try to convince my settlers to leave the town. That's also why I ordered the construction of watchtowers directly in the residential center. Order and discipline, guys, order and discipline. Still, the Londoner got new followers. However, the next law is going to deal with that problem. Guard towers. I like the sound of those. An organized militia will maintain peace and order and help us deal with anyone who might threaten it. By now, even the frozen wood for our sawmills ran out, therefore I swapped those with wall drills. No idea how they work, but I guess there's wood in those walls all along. I also built resource depots, in order to increase the maximum stored food and coal for the inevitable endgame to come, where it gets so cold that we cannot even mine or hunt anymore. And honestly, the rough start finally paid off. The town has become livable. 223 people are currently under my command, all distributed evenly in order to secure the survival of others. All homes are heated, coal and rations are stockpiled for days. Guess there's only one promise left to fulfill. Get rid of child labor, which got me through the harsh early game. This has been C2, thank you all for watching, see you out and see ya next time.